All right, this thing on, Joe. Can you hear me?
I don't know if you can hear
I
me.
can hear you. Welcome to the Area 210 podcast. Woo! Sports, pop culture, nostalgia. My name is Mike Jimenez. That's Joe Garcia. This is take two. Let's make it happen. We're talking about Mamu's big night last night, making history, not only for the San Antonio Spurs, but for the NBA. And Joe, Mamu is a free agent this offseason. What do we do about Mamu? Did Mamu price himself out of San Antonio last night?
Oh,
What a game. 34 points, made all but one shot yesterday, had 9 rebounds. It's the most points scored in NBA history by a player playing less than 20 minutes. It was a record once held by Jaylen Brown of the Boston Celtics. We have a lot to get into. Joe, I went through 25 years of Spurs statistics, and I've never seen anything like Mamu's stat line. Mamu's stat line not only for last night, but for the season, Joe. For the season. Why have we kept him under wraps, Joe? Last night, Mamu 13 of 14 from the field, knocked down all 7 3-point attempts, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 34 points in 19 minutes. It was one of the most impressive games I've ever seen a Spur play. We saw Wemby go for 50 earlier this year. It was impressive. He had a hop to his step, Joe. High basketball IQ last night. And on top of that, this all happened in front of Flavor Flav, formerly a Public Enemy back in the day. Joe, dare I say, watching this game last night, Mamu was throbbing.
oh God.
He was throbbing bad.
That's a phrase that needs to die on this show, man. Throbbing. Oh God.
Already.
Which was more impressive? Wemby's
Yeah.
50-point performance or Mamu's 30+ point performance here, making NBA history?
I think Mamu's performance was more impressive.
Because it was historic, you know?
Well, we expect good things and great things from Wemby. But the thing about Mamu last night was I'm watching Mamu, I'm watching Sohan, and I'm thinking to myself, my God, I wish Sohan had Mamu's tricks offensively. I wish Mamu had Sohan's defensive skills. Combined, they'd be a very, very, very good player. By the way, Sohan was back into the starting lineup last night. They sent Bismack Biyombo to the bench. But last night was an interesting game because what we saw was not Mamu just on fire. It was a high IQ basketball game from him. When they inserted him in the second quarter, the first play, the first bucket that he got, which was a putback, he had 3 attempts at a 3-point shot. Did he let the ball loose? No. Pump fake. The shot wasn't there. Pass it to Sohan. Get the ball back. Up. Nope. Pump fake. Nope. On the side. Is the shot there? Up. Nope. Pump fake. Give it to Barnes. And then all of a sudden he got the putback. And I was watching that play last night, Joe, and I was thinking to myself, that is old school basketball. It is a combination of old school and new school basketball in the sense that he's making a bunch of 3-pointers, but it's old school in the sense that he wasn't just letting the ball fire away. He was actually looking for his shot and was only shooting when he was comfortable shooting. He didn't force anything last night. And then some of the rebounds that he was getting, Joe, instead of grabbing the ball and doing one of these numbers, he looks up, volleyball taps it to Stephon Castle, who, by the way, had a good game last night. Some of the things that he was doing, passing the ball wise, snowbirding down the court on that one play, I was so impressed by last night's game that I thought to myself, can you imagine Mamu on a good team? Can you imagine Mamu on a Cleveland Cavaliers, on a Boston Celtics team? Can you imagine him on that? Because he's that kind of player. And I was trying to think about it, Joe. What is my favorite stat, Joe? What's my
EFG.
favorite stat? EFG, effective field goal shooting percentage, which means for every shot that you make, how many points do you get out of it, right? A good EFG for a high volume 3-point shooter, because you're expected to make around 35% of them, right?
Yep.
Is about 56 to 57%. That's good, right? If you're north of 60, borderline elite. If you're a 3-point shooter, right? Which is what Mamu is, right? Mamu shoots just as many threes as he does 2-pointers, right? So when he's out there, he's looking for a 3-point shot. Do you know what his EFG is this year, Joe?
What is it?
66.6.
It's
That's
crazy.
off the Richter scale. 66.6. That means that if you gave him the ball 100 times to shoot and he shot the ball 100 times, he would make 133 points, Joe.
Damn.
So I went back in time. Historic perspective on all this. When was the last time we saw a high volume 3-point shooter go off for 66.6% shooting for a
When?
season effective field goal shooting? Guess what? You know who the last person in the last 25 years did that?
Oh,
No one. It's Mamu. This is freaking historic, Joe,
and
from a
look at what
Spurs
Sam Salinas
standpoint.
is saying.
Sam
$5
Salinas,
incoming.
$5 super chat. Thank you so much. He goes, no, we're not getting into this crap. It's one freaking game. I get it, historic, but as Mike Taylor would say, it's a complete overact. He would say knee-jerk reaction is what Mike Taylor would say from in the building.
What's going to be his
But
name
Joe,
next year? What's going to be his name next
more
year?
than likely gone.
Gone.
Mamu, who's the lowest paid Spur this year, $2.1 million, a free agent, one of the few free agents we got this year. Chris Paul, Mamu, right? But here's the thing, Joe. An effective field goal shooting percentage of 66.6. He's averaging 5.6 points per game, 2.6 rebounds, and just under an assist per game, right? But here are the stats that we need to see, Joe. 66.6% effective field goal shooting from three. For the season, right? Look at these stats that he has this year. This year, from 2-pointers, he's shooting 69.9%.
Look at
From
what
two.
GHNSB says in 2020 in a 2025 league. Mamu is better than Sohan.
He right?
Uh,
He's shooting 69.9% from two.
oh
He's
my!
shooting 42.5% from three for an overall effective field goal shooting percentage of 66.6. Here are the names of people, Joe, that were kind of close to that, but not really. And when I say close to it, I'm saying they were between 60 and 64%. We saw names like Doug McDermott. That's the most recent one, right? We saw names like Boris Diaw back in 2010. We saw names like Danny Green. We saw names like Brent Barry. Mamu has an effective field goal shooting percentage for the year higher than all of those guys' best years with the Spurs.
Man.
Mamu's going to be somebody that goes into the free agency market, and people are going to look around at his stats and go, let me get this straight. We got a 25-year-old guy who's just turned 26, who played American college ball, who has 5 years experience in the NBA, who's out there at 6'11", who shoots 69.9% from two and 42.5% from three. Yeah, I'll go ahead and pay that guy. And they're going to look over at the Spurs and think, why wasn't this guy on the court more often? Why were we seeing Bismack Biyombo out there so often? Why
You
were
know
we
why?
seeing Jeremy Sohan out there so often?
Because it was one damn game. Mamu went off on one game. It happens.
I
People
know.
get in
But
the
I'm giving you
get
the
in the
whole
zone.
season stats, Joe.
I know that,
The
but it's
full
because
season
it's the stats.
stats.
But let's put it in perspective. You're firing off the stats, but in the grand scheme of things, when you look at it from a perspective standpoint, it's because of the minutes that he's played. He's been more efficient with the minutes that he's been given, even though they haven't been a lot. He's made the most out of them. Yesterday he went off. He had a great game. That's great for Mamu. I'm happy for him. But in the context of looking at it as an 82 game season, or 82 game schedule, should I say, for a regular season,
Mm-hmm.
he's not that guy. You know, he's just delegated to the bench. They don't really play him. He has good chemistry with Wemby. Him and Wemby are friends. They're close friends. They hang out, and work out, in the off season. But Mamu doesn't do this consistently. That's been the biggest faux pas, I guess you could say, not only with him, but as the Spurs, as a team as a whole, just very inconsistent play. I would love it if Mamu was like this moving forward. You
Well,
get this
Joe,
out of Mamu every night? Damn.
let me ask you this, Joe. You know the stat per 36?
Yeah.
What does somebody do per 36 minutes? He averages 9 minutes per game. So it's easy to extrapolate this, right? You just take the stat and multiply by 4. If he's averaging 5.6 points per game, that means his per 36 is 22. If he's averaging 2.6 rebounds a game, that means his per six is over 10. He averages more than 10 rebounds per 36 minutes of play. And if his assist is 0.6, that means he extrapolate that is averaging 2 assists per 36 minutes. I'm not saying that I want Mamu as a starter, but what I am saying is that you look at everybody else across the board for the Spurs. Yes, he had a huge game last night, but you take a look at what he's doing this year from a historic perspective. Why is he the 12th guy on the bench? Why is he the 11th guy on the bench? Why are we seeing more of? Why are we giving Bismack Biyombo minutes?
And look at
What are the two things the Spurs can't do, Joe? We've argued about this year, or complained about this year. What are the two things the Spurs can't do?
what?
Can't shoot the three, can't rebound. What does Mamu do? Shoots the three and rebounds.
I know, but I'm just saying, in the grand scheme of things, it's one game. Mamu hasn't been given a lot of minutes, made the most of what he's had. This last night, did the same thing, made the most of what he had. He was just in the zone, going off. I'm happy for Mamu. Good for him, man. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy here on the team. And we got an incoming super chat from the Drew
From
Show.
the Drew Show, from the Woodlands, right down the street from me right now. Says, why was your boy Mitch buried Mamu on the bench all year? Don't give me any pop interference BS. The man couldn't walk for months. Mitch is crap. So here's the thing. I am coming more and more onto your side, Drew. Okay. I want Mitch Johnson for one more season, but if it doesn't happen, it ain't gonna hurt my feelings. We get somebody better, great. But it better be somebody better.
Look at George Schneider. He for sure deserves minutes over Champagne. Cardio, your boy Cardio.
Dude, whatever happened. See, and that's the thing, Joe, is that some of these players are just not very consistent. But Mamu, not only this past game, if you go back in time, the last 3 games, he's 20 for 27 from the field. The last 3 games, he's 11 for 15 from 3. All I'm saying is he deserves his minutes, Joe.
And Devin Vassell didn't have a good game, 10 points.
Yeah.
In the absence of one, Fox, you don't have Wemby out there. You would think Devin would be going off. Instead, it's Castle and Mamu. Like, where's the rest of the starting lineup out here? Like, get something done. Get it going. Especially Devin Vassell. Do something. Poke him with the stick. Do something, man.
Chris Gonzalez coming out with, does Mamu have an ugly girlfriend? That's a reference to the movie Draft Day, by the way. I got you. That's a Draft Day reference. I like that. Actually, no. It's not Draft Day. That's a reference to Moneyball. That's a Moneyball reference. July 26 says, Mitch even played Collins over Mamu. Hey, dude, Collins is balling out right now for the Bulls, man.
So is Trey Jones.
Yeah, that's right. Sam Selena says, if your stats are correct, Mike, then what the F is he not playing? And more so, why the hell is Sohan playing and now even starting? Dude, okay, so there was a play between Mamu and Sohan last night. I want to say that it was in the third quarter.
Yeah.
Both were in the front court. And Mamu goes baseline and has gets 2 players up in the air. Try to do a wraparound pass to Sohan for an easy layup or an easy dunk. And Sohan bobbles the ball out of bounds. Do you know why he bobbled the ball out of bounds? Because when Mamu threw the ball at him, Sohan, for no reason whatsoever, jumped up in the air. For no reason, he jumped up in the air. Sean Elliott, doing the play-by-play, the color analysis last night, was there going, why did he jump? Why did he jump? Because you can't throw an alley-oop from the other side of the rim, Joe. You just can't. From the angle that he was at, it was a wraparound pass. It was like, hey, I got your defender out of the way. Here, catch the ball, dunk it or lay it in. And Sohan, for no reason whatsoever, jumped up in the air. It was crazy. And that's what I'm talking about, basketball IQ. Jeremy Sohan is a great basketball player when it comes to defense. He's a very good defender. He's an above average. I call him a B+ defender, right?
Yeah.
But the basketball IQ, it's gotten better, but it's not where I want it to be. Watching Mamu play last night was a revelation because I was looking at him playing within himself. It was more than him being on fire, because that happens. Right? Devin Vassell's knocked down 6 or 7 threes in a game, right? We've seen Keldon go off and do that. We've seen Wemby go off and do that. It was beyond all that. It was last night was a game in which he played within himself. He knew what he could do and what he couldn't do. He saw plays develop before it actually happened. And there was a high basketball IQ going on last night with Mamu that I had not seen before. He's had good games. But last night's game was, I'm not going to force a shot. Yeah. He was 13 for 14 for a reason. And the one shot he missed was blocked. It probably would have gone in. It's 13 for 14. And he refused to shoot the ball with a hand in his face. Oh, you have a hand in my face? I'm just going to pass the ball out. I'm just going to go pass the ball. I'm going to go grab a rebound. I'm going to go crash the boards. I'm going to make a pass out. I'm going to do an outlet pass. It was so smart, Joe, that I thought to myself, is he the Spurs player that has learned the most this year? Because if you look at his stats, Joe, if you go from year to year, Mamu's had some years where he's done well from three and other years where he hasn't. His rookie year, when he played for the Milwaukee Bucks, he shot 42% from three. But last year, he shot 29% from three with the Spurs.
You have another $5 incoming chat. Yeah. Super chat from the Drew Show. He says, Mitch, for one more season question. Why do you keep ignoring my thesis I sent to you? The Spurs are in death thrones with this Pop situation.
Appreciate the super chat, Drew. Thank you so much for that. It says, everything we see, have seen, or will see is a symptom of what is until it's resolved one way or another. Acknowledge me. Okay, so let's talk about this. The elephant in the room of Mitch Johnson. We saw that article on ESPN.com earlier this week that basically said, quote unquote, it's Pop's decision as to what's to happen next with him, right? That article went on to say that Pop wasn't able to walk for 3 months. It goes on to say that Pop wants to come back, but that everyone knows that something bad happened to him. Mitch Johnson gets thrown into the fire, and as they mentioned, there were 8 names that could have been successors for Greg Popovich that year, or any given year between 2014 and now. Everybody from Ime Udoka to Mike Budenholzer to Borrego to whomever, Becky Hammond, Monty Williams, they all could have been the successor for Greg Popovich. And at some point, they were probably deemed as such. Pop goes out with a stroke. The only person there who's ready to go is the least ready person there, which is Mitch Johnson. So if you believe that Mitch Johnson needs to cook somewhere, then that's fine. I mean, I will respect that argument. I'm not going to be sitting on a throne saying, you guys are all wrong, because you all might be right. I might be right too. All I know is Pop wasn't the greatest coach of all time when he first started, right? I look at it as that he didn't have the offseason to prepare. He didn't have a system in place. The guy was just thrown into the fire. And I think he's done a okay job. I want to see what he could do having a full season and having some control and having the ability to have a full season of his own. Because what if the guy balls out someplace else? What if he goes to, I don't know, Charlotte, starts balling out over there? We're going to be looking at that going, well, why wasn't he the coach with us? Why didn't we give him a chance? Because if he goes off and is successful someplace else, we're all going to look back and think to ourselves, we never gave the guy a real chance. This season wasn't his. This is Pop's season. Pop might not be there right now, and Pop may or may not be on the phone. Pop may or may not be the ESPN's reporting that Pop is pretty in tune with what's going on, is making phone calls and whatnot. This is a Pop team. Now, if Drew Show is saying that we need to get away from Pop, and not only all of Pop, but also all of Pop's people, that's a good conversation to have. But we look at that with the Cowboys, right? When the Cowboys were looking for a head coach, they hired for somebody from within, even though he's not experienced, Schottenheimer. Sometimes you need to go outside your boundaries. Sometimes you got to go away from your inner circle to get the right player, right? We saw Houston go with Ime Udoka and Brad Stevens in Boston and all of these different places where you saw our people go.
Yeah.
Mike Budenholzer won a title in Milwaukee. You saw Mike Brown win a title elsewhere. These are all people that were in the Spurs organization at one point. They got hired by other teams who were saying that we need to have new culture come in, and they brought that culture in, and they brought a winning culture over there. San Antonio Spurs do not have a winning culture. We have no culture here. We have a 76-year-old Pop who isn't there health wise. We've lost 6 years in a row. There is no culture. Keldon Johnson has been with this team for years. Vassell's been on this team for years. How many playoff games have they played, Joe?
None.
Not a one. Not a one. So there is no culture. So if Drew and Spurs fans are going to go off and say we need to reverse course and actually just hit, delete on every single person that Pop has ever touched and get rid of Pop and all that stuff, then I understand that. And I wouldn't think that's a wrong thing, but I look at Mitch Johnson and there's something there. There's a flicker there of Mitch Johnson that I have to acknowledge that there. And I think that Spurs fans are so upset about it because this dude beat the Knicks, a good team. The Knicks
Yeah.
are a good team, right?
Yeah.
Beat them without who? Wemby and Fox.
Yeah.
This is a team that was 22 wins last year. They'll probably get 35 wins this year, 36 wins this year. It's a 14-game improvement. He didn't even have a preseason. He didn't even know that he was going to be the head coach of this team. He didn't have any say in any of this crap. Why are we throwing him under the bus?
Yeah, I think what the Drew show is trying to get at, Mike, is that the Spurs are kind of stuck in limbo right now because they really can't do anything about their future until they address the Coach Pop situation. That's the kind of, that's kind of holding things up right now as far as what direction the team's going to go in. Whether it's going to be under Mitch Johnson, are they going to go with another head coach to take the helm and lead this team and for the foreseeable future? Something's going to have to go ahead and happen here for the Spurs to have some type of a future. In other words, they have to make a decision. And that decision, more than likely in the offseason, I believe, is going to be to go ahead and move on from Pop. Basically, what's going on with the Spurs right now and the team as a whole is it's the system that's broken. And it's been broken for quite some time. It's been broken for over 6 years. They haven't had a playoff berth. They've had just a bunch of guys on this team. They haven't had any real dogs yet. And now that you're starting to see them, get Fox, you have Wemby, and you have some of these other players that are starting to come into their own. Maybe it'll be a little bit better, but still they have to address the shooting situation. The other thing that I just saw here is an article from Hoops Hype. And I thought this was interesting. They're talking about one Stephon Castle. And this is an excerpt from an article per Mark Medina of Athlon Sports. And he's talking about Stephon Castle. And he was saying that Stephon Castle's ability to handle the challenges of his rookie season, and that's again per Mark Medina of Athlon Sports. He says the fourth overall pick has experienced the typical ups and downs that most rookies face, but he's managed to stay focused on developing his overall game while playing elite level defense. There are definitely all defensive awards in his future, per his teammate Harrison Barnes said. And this is an exact quote from him. It's just with his ability to guard 1 through 4, he's strong. There's still years before he's going to fill out his body, and be the type of player that he's going to become. But I think that he shows a great aptitude to defend at a very high level. And that's coming from Harrison Barnes, who is a decent player in his own right. He's a really good veteran.
Been around the
So,
block for a long time, for the better part of a decade. Stephon Castle last night had 22 points, 8 of 16 shooting, knocked down 2 of 4 from 3, 4 of 6 from the free throw line, had 3 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, and a block. A good overall game for Stephon Castle. In fact, Castle came out of the gate knocking down his first 2 shots, and then he drove to the basket, got fouled, went to the free throw line. Castle is showing more and more that he is a legit starter in the NBA, that he is a legit NBA player. He's now averaging 14 points per game. Vegas has him as a lock right now to win Rookie of the Year. I know Zachary Sarche is getting better and better. The NBA ladder, according to NBA.com, got revealed yesterday. Reece Sarche, we were talking about this last week, vaulted up to number 2. He's making ground on Castle, but I think Castle's too far ahead, and I think Castle will win Rookie of the Year because Fox is not there, and Castle's going to be able to show what he can do as a starter. But what we're seeing from Castle is the game is not too fast for him. You hear that about NFL players, NBA players. They get into the league, it's too fast, and it takes a while for it to slow down. Castle does not seem to have that issue. On top of that, usually rookies hit the wall, right? There's a rookie wall
Yeah.
sometime around February, March. Never happened. Castle's revving his engines and throttling upwards right now. He's getting better. Again, his points per game is now at 14 points per game. I just think that Castle, when you look at him from the perspective of what do the outsiders think, one of my favorite things, Joe, is when I watch a game and I start listening to other fans because we got to get out of our bubble, right? Everyone loves certain players, whether it be Vassell or Sohan or whomever. But you go onto the other chat lines or you go on the other Twitter threads from the other fans.
Yeah.
They'll outright say, this guy
The
sucks.
other,
This guy sucks, right? They'll go like, oh my God, this guy, I like this guy, but this guy sucks. You should have seen all the love that Stephon Castle got from Knicks fans last night. Knicks fans were like, hate the fact that our team's losing right now, but man, that Castle guy's special.
yeah,
Are you
it
sure
is.
he's a rookie? Are you sure he's 20 years old? Castle is leaps and bounds ahead of what we all thought he was going to be. We all knew he was going to be a good
Truth.
player. But, Joe, what do we talk about, Joe? We talk about when we talk about Mamu, we talk about basketball IQ. I think that Castle has a higher basketball IQ than Wemby. Wemby's just 7'3". I think basketball smarts, I think that Castle is smarter.
Yeah.
Wemby is more physically talented and is a rock star. And I'm not saying that Wemby doesn't have high basketball IQ. I just think that Castle's is slightly higher.
Yeah.
And because of that, I never thought Devin Vassell would be an all-star. Spurs fans have always said, oh my God, I think Devin could be an all-star. He averaged 19, 20 points per game. No. The star on this team right now, Joe, aside from Wemby, is going to be Castle. More than Fox.
We have something else that I wanted to show that I thought was funny because you were hyping up Mamu and Flavor Flav and all that. So here we go. I'm going to show the video. And this is Flavor Flav hyping up Mamu after the game. So hopefully we can hear this.
Let me tell you something. I don't care what nobody say. My man is on fire. Let me tell you something. I don't care what nobody say. My man is on fire.
Yeah, boy! Flavor Flav, Public Enemy, baby. That was courtesy of FanDuel. Yeah, they're friends apparently. How that happened, I don't know. There's photos of Flavor Flav visiting the Rocket La Cantera where the Spurs practice and enjoying his time out there. Fantastic, man. But it's funny because when they were interviewing Mamu after the game, they let Flavor Flav on the court, and he went up to the side of him. And when they looked at each other, they both got excited. And you see Keldon Johnson, you see Stephon Castle just jumping up and down, going, what a moment. Not only did Mamu, our guy, go off last night, but you have Flavor Flav there jumping up and down with him. What a moment. I think it's the biggest night of the year for the Spurs.
Yeah. Can you I wouldn't have never imagined that Flavor Flav would be Mamu's hype man.
Yeah. Now, the worst part of the night is that with the victory, the Spurs fell from number 8 in the draft to number 10. And the odds of going from going to the top 4 dropped from 24% down to 13.
Look, at the end of the day, I mean, it is what it is as far as the season is concerned. It's not going to be, let's say, a successful season by any stretch of the imagination. But as a Spurs fan, you can get excited and enjoy a win here and there when you can get them. You know, especially with Mamu making NBA history. And it's a special night, especially if you were in attendance there watching everything unfold in front of you. You can say you were part of Spurs history. You know, hey, I was here when Mamu scored the most points in NBA history with the limited minutes that he had out there, you know, making that happen. I mean, it's a special night. And you're going to have to enjoy these because they're going to be far and few between as you're, you know, only have a handful of games left to finish the season off here as we're starting to wind down to the month of March coming into April. And then it's like, what? You only have like, I think the second week of April when the season comes to an end. So the end is nigh, you know?
Mario Cavazos reached out and asked the question, Mike, were you a fan of Flavor of Love?
Oh God.
TV show on VH1 back in the day with Brigitte Nielsen. Was I a fan? Damn straight I was a fan. Hell yes.
What was the
Great
name of
show.
that other girl that he had there? The one that was always causing the drama. I forgot her name.
Oh yeah, I remember her. Yeah.
He got spit in the face and all that kind of stuff happened. I mean, this was in the mecca, of reality TV,
That's when reality TV was kind of pretty good, man.
And what else did they have? That one with what's his name? The guy from that used to be a lead singer. Remember, he had that other show was called something of love, and he was like a rock star.
Oh yeah, was it the guy from Motley Crue?
Motley Crue or something like I don't remember.
Yeah.
It wasn't Motley Crue. It was another band, and
Or it might have been Poison.
yeah, something like that. And he was out there, and he was trying to do the same thing. They had a bunch of them back in the day on VH1. I remember that.
Drew Show with a super chat saying, "Can you believe the people in the streets of X and X group spaces were propagating that Pop was driving himself through the arena?" And that's I guess we're talking about the lore, the legend that was Pop after the stroke, where people were like, "Oh yeah, well Pop was there the other day. He was at the Rock the other day, and he went to the airport and saw the guys go." I heard things like, "Oh yeah, when they were playing in Paris against Indiana back in January, that Pop made the trip and all that stuff," and it was all nonsense. It was all nonsense because it took him a few months to learn how to walk again. Pop, 76 years old, will be 77 in January,
Oh.
in the middle of next season, and we're all just waiting for him to just say, "Yeah, I'm done," because again, it's a bad PR move for the Spurs to say you're fired. It's a bad PR move for the Spurs to say, "Hey, we're going to kick you to the front office." It is, quote, his decision. Drew mentioned earlier in the show, I saw on the stream here of all the different chats saying that should have put chill through your bones, that was the phrase being used, because if that's the Spurs way, if the Spurs are saying, "Yeah, we're going to let Pop go out there and coach," despite all his health conditions and all that stuff, to me, that's a big middle finger to Spurs fans. To me, that's a big middle finger to Victor Wembanyama. Why would Wemby want to play for Pop anymore?
Oh God, here we go.
No, it's not here we go. It's just facts. He's not physically there anymore. The Pop that we all know and love back in the day, Joe, was Pop getting onto the court and being with the team, showing people physically how to do certain things.
Getting mad at the team, saying, "I want some nasty."
Going out there with the broomstick and blocking shots and all this stuff, and showing how to become a very good NBA player. Pop is on the Mount Rushmore of head coaches, but those days are gone, Joe. Those days are done. At some point, you have diminishing returns, and Pop is the example of diminishing returns. And for the front office to not have the balls to say you're done, like quit it, stop it. He's already in the Hall of Fame, Joe. It's not like he's going to retire and then one day be in the Hall of Fame. He's already in the Hall of Fame. Do Hall of Fame coaches play a coach still? No.
Look at Chris Leha's comment. Pop couldn't walk for 3 months, probably couldn't wipe his own ass, but yeah, he was driving himself.
Yeah. It's all this legend, dude. It's all this legend. They didn't want to hear it. And Joe, you and I called it the day that it happened when the Spurs said that he had what did they say? It was under the weather or something to that effect.
Yeah.
You and I called BS from the beginning, Joe.
Yeah.
Why? Because if I know things, Joe, remember how we say people lie, dogs lie.
Women lie, people lie, the numbers don't lie, or the facts don't lie.
You know who lies the most? The Spurs front office. They lie the most, Joe.
Yep.
Facts. Let's give some love to Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5, providing you that daily coverage of the Spurs.
Locked On Spurs is your daily Spurs podcast, hosted by Jeff Garcia, the lead Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Jeff has a healthy plethora of guests all the time on the Locked On Spurs podcast. You can also follow Jeff on Threads at Jeff G Ken's 5 SA. You can also follow Jeff on Twitter at Jeff G Spurs Zone. So make sure you go ahead and give Jeff a follow not only on Threads and Twitter, but also on YouTube at youtube.com/@LockedOnSpurs. This is where you're going to be able to find the replay of the Locked On Spurs podcast Make sure to like, subscribe, and share.
And there's articles at Jeff G's Pro Zone on Kens5.com, on Twitter and threads of Mamu with his friend Flava Flav, as Flava Flav crashed the post-game interview. And Harrison Barnes named the NBA Community Assist Award winner. You can check that out at Kens5.com, or you can follow Jeff at Jeff G Spurs Zone on Twitter and on threads. On top of that, again, Locked On Spurs getting going today. New podcast being dropped this morning. Fantastic. Spurs beat the Knicks last night, 120-105. Big game from Mamu, 34 points, 21, I believe, in the fourth quarter. Most points scored ever by an NBA player in less than 20 minutes play. Jaylen Brown held the record originally. Hey, Joe, March Madness starts in 10 minutes, which means, by the way, that if you want to take part in our March Madness, okay, we can't call it that. I'm sorry. Reel that in. Don't want to be sued by the NCAA. If you want to take part in our bracket challenge, there you go. Go to my Twitter account, MJ Acquire Taste, and you can take part in it. We're going to have prizes, restaurant gift cards. We have a Wemby card to give away as well. Lots of things that we can give away, some Spurs memorabilia, things like that. Just go on and Joe, have you filled out your bracket yet?
No, I have not.
You've got 10 minutes, Joe.
We'll see if I get to it, dude. I've been so busy at work, man. Yesterday, they had us doing training modules in between our work. And I'm like, bro, we got things to do. We don't got time to be doing training. And the stupid thing is that the training modules didn't even need to be completed until September. Why the F are we doing them now? Makes no damn sense. Stupid. And you know what makes no damn sense?
What's that?
There's no indicator lights, right, on your key fobs, right,
Yeah.
for your car. So I'm over here. I'm like, I'm gonna go and get me something to eat this morning. Freaking key fob, man, for my caddy. Freaking dead as a doornail, dude. Couldn't even open the damn door. There's a little secret compartment that you have to push on the side, a button, and you got to pull the key out to be able to open the door, and you got to put the fob near the door handle so it doesn't have the alarm go off on you. They had to go make the trek over here to the O'Reilly Auto Parts off of Marbach to go get a CR 2032 battery to put in this sucker. And I just need the one battery, but they don't sell it to you in one.
Yeah, it's something too.
It's a blister. No, it's a blister pack. It's like freaking 6 batteries. So I go paying $16 for one effing battery. I'm like, all right, I go in the car. I had the little screwdriver, pop it in. Now I can start my car again. Now I can open the doors again. Stupid, man.
Joe, I lost one of my key fobs to my truck, right? So Chica's over here telling me that if I lose my second one, it's going to cost $1,500 to program another one. Is that right?
It's expensive, dude.
Is that right? Jeez, man.
Because the only way that you can get these things is you got to go to the dealer, right?
Right.
And you got to go buy one.
And at that point, they have you over the rail, right?
How are you going to start your car? How are you going to open your door?
Hey, don't forget, hit the like button right now. This is your chance. Hit the like button on YouTube. Again, we're also on Facebook. We're also on Twitter and things like that. So fantastic, Joe. March Madness gets going today, but it's going to be without the Texas Longhorns. They lost to Xavier. A lot of Longhorn fans pissed off right now, saying that their coach sucks. John Dyer, our good friend, was on Twitter earlier this morning saying that he's so upset that Mitch Johnson is coaching the Spurs and so upset that UT has their head coach. But there's no UT. And guess what, Joe? You know who didn't belong in the March Madness, Joe?
Who
didn't belong in the 64? The Longhorns.
You're talking about the men's team?
The men's team.
Of course, dude.
Women's team's the number 1 seed. That's fine.
Number 1 overall seed, yeah.
That men's team, no, man.
They're ass cheeks, man. Booty crumbs.
Booty crumbs. But March Madness gets going today. It's a big day for a lot of people. A lot of gamblers going out there having a fun time. But let's take a look at the games that are getting going early. The women's tournament gets going this week as well. But the first game going off today is going to be at 11:15 Central in 20 minutes. You got Creighton against Louisville. You've got at 11:40 High Point taking on Purdue in a 4-13 matchup. Later on, you got Montana against Wisconsin. You get SIUE against Houston. Houston, the number 1 ranked team, 30-4 record going on. That's a 1:00 game on TBS. Auburn, the number 1 overall team, is taking on Alabama State at 1:50. Auburn's the number 1 overall team, but they lost 3 of the last 4 games. You've got McNeese against Clemson, VCU against BYU. One of the games that I'm going to be watching, Joe, 3:35 on TBS, Gonzaga, who's the 8 seed, taking on Georgia, the 9 seed. Why am I looking at this game, Joe?
Why?
Asamoah plays on that team for Georgia, and a lot of mock drafts have him going to the Spurs. I want to see if he can ball out under the big lights. Wofford taking on Tennessee. Got Arkansas against Kansas later on. Upset alert, Joe. I'm just saying. The 13 seed Yale against A&M. A&M's a really good team this year. But that Yale team during the tournament, man, they're hard to beat. That's going to be a hard out right now. A&M's here by 7.5 points. The over-under is 139.5. Take the under. Yale doesn't put up a lot of points, man. Drake against Missouri. That's an 11-6 matchup. Utah State against UCLA. Omaha against St. John's. UC San Diego against Michigan in a 12-5 matchup. Michigan favored by just 2 points. That's considered to be a possible upset. And then you've got UNC Wilmington taking on Texas Tech. That's the last game of the night. That's at 9:10. So Leha, you'll stay up late. Justin R. on our YouTube stream, our chat line, which is powered by MCS General Contracting, saying, yes, Yale over A&M is my pick. Joe, I got a bunch of 1 seeds going to the Final Four, Joe. I think I got 2 1 seeds and 2 seeds. I've got Auburn winning it all.
You know that there's going to be a ton of upsets.
Right.
So you can have your number 1 seeds going in, but I bet you by the end of the day, there are going to be a lot of brackets that are busted.
Oh, big time. Big time. Which is why one of our listeners earlier today, Mexican Jr., said that he's in Vegas right now and that he bet $25 money line on all the 13, 14, and 15 seeds.
There you go.
Not the 16s, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Not bad.
I say get the 12s. Get the 12s along with it.
Money line's a good way to go because you'll still win some bread on top of that, man.
Oh, I know. You can get 3 to 4 to 5 to 1 on that bad boy.
Yeah.
You know what happened last night? I had somebody on my Facebook page for my old neighborhood saying that they needed concrete placement. Who would have thought, Joe? They said, does anybody have anybody that can do concrete placement for a sidewalk on the side of their house, and they want to do a patio extension? I was like, oh my God, that's me. I did that. And I sent them photos, and I sent them the phone number to Chris Leha from MCS General Contracting because they did a bang-up job at my house, Joe. Let's give them some love.
MCS General Contracting, more than 30 years of combined experience in concrete placement. They are the best in the business, honest pricing, high quality work. They get going on house foundations, driveways, concrete patio decks. If you want to extend the deck, extend the driveway. If you're a business and you need to put together a slab, a parking lot, or other concrete placement services or sidewalks, reach out to MCS General Contracting at 210-774-9155. They're confident in their skills, so give Chris Leha over at MCS General Contracting a call at 210-774-9155. And thank you for being a sponsor of this show.
That's right, that Diamond Heart Concrete. And that's how you give a referral, Joe. You give a referral by giving them an example, by being a testimony, and by giving the phone number. Here's the number, 774-9155. If you need a sidewalk done, a driveway, concrete patio extension, if you want to build a patio, build a swimming pool, pickleball court, basketball court, they do a very good job. They even did some business with Randolph Air Force Base recently.
Yeah.
But they did a sidewalk from them. If it's good enough for Uncle Sam, it's good enough for you. MCS General Contracting, 210-774-9155. Joe, I watched an interesting show last night on Hulu.
Yeah, which one?
It stars Ellen Pompeo. She plays Meredith Grey on Grey's Anatomy. There's a new show that is out. I think it's called The Good American Family, if I'm not mistaken. And it is some creepy ass stuff, dude. It is some creepy ass stuff. It's called The Good American Family. And it's a mini series, and the first 2 episodes were dropped yesterday. Chica and I watched both of them. Creeped us the F out, man. Creeped us out. So I'm not going to give away a lot to it all, but it's basically about an adoption gone awry.
Oh, I saw the trailer for that.
Oh my god, dude. That kid is creepy, man. That's the creepiest looking kid I've seen in my life.
Oh shit, dude! I saw that. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna adopt you now." I'm like, not only no, but f no.
Hell no, dude. That kid looks evil.
Oh
Chica and I
god,
were looking at each other going,
what
man, never in a million years would we take that kid in.
the hell? Chico's probably saying, "I can fix her teeth." You know?
Which is great. Okay, so here's the thing. Chica is for those of you who don't know, is a dental hygienist. And one of the things that I've had happen, Joe, over the years
Yeah.
is I've had gum issues, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I have what's called a scaling, which is called a deep cleaning, right?
Yeah.
And it's because my gums get puffy and all that stuff, and they get swollen and all that stuff. My teeth are straight, but I have gum issues, right?
Yeah.
I start dating Chica. Chica's a dental hygienist, and she goes, Michael, I'm not going to be with somebody with bad, jacked up teeth. How unbecoming. That would be like you, a financial
Oh.
guy, being with somebody who's up into their eyeballs in debt, right? So every once in a while, she just comes by me, just like I think she's going to be loving. She does this to me like I'm a horse. Just pulls my teeth back and goes, all right, you're good today. She sits there and watches me floss, Joe.
Oh god.
She bought me an Oral B toothbrush. Now I've had the toothbrushes before that are like, and it kind of brushes your teeth a little bit. The Oral B is round and it goes, right? So I go up to the teeth, it like punches my tooth. It's so strong, all the way through, right? And then on top of that, she gives me half a cap of Listerine and half a cap of hydrogen peroxide.
Oh god.
And she goes, swish with it for a minute. And the first time I did it, my mouth was like sizzling,
Shh.
kind of
Like a sprite.
like a Sprite,
A
yeah.
sprite.
And she goes, that means your mouth's not clean. But now I've been doing it for a while. Now
Mhm.
I swish it and I spit it out, and then she goes, look, no bubbles. She means you have a clean mouth.
Yeah, because what I do is I'll brush my teeth, I'll floss and all that kind of stuff, and then I'll also use like mouthwash, you know?
Yeah.
So I do the best I can, but I always go to the dentist every so many months for cleaning though.
Well,
You
she
have
was saying that the Listerine on its own is not it.
yeah.
Like,
No,
the
I'll
Listerine
do it.
will take care of a couple of things, but it's the hydrogen peroxide
The
that
kill.
that kills things, and it also whitens your teeth.
Yeah.
She goes, people spend all this money on on whiteners and all that stuff, and she goes, some of them do work, but she goes, the base of it all should be hydrogen peroxide.
Baking soda.
I've heard of that, man.
Hey, we got a $2 super chat that we need to address here coming from Sam Salinas. He says UT plus NCAA tournament equals gone.
Gone.
Oh,
Oh, Joe. So I was going back to the Ellen Pompeo show. I don't know if I want to keep watching it. I mean, I think I've got to now.
a little strange.
That kid is so damn creepy, man. So creepy. So I made a post on Twitter earlier today, and I had to ask the question. I want for those of you who are listening right now on our chat line, sponsored by MCS General Contracting, to answer me this question: what do you think is the best music album of your lifetime? Of your lifetime. And I thought about this because, I drive back and forth from San Antonio to Conroe pretty frequently.
Yeah.
Week, once every other week at the very least, I go back and forth. Um, I fell back in love with an album that I've always loved. But I'm going to say, Joe, that the greatest album of my lifetime, personal opinion, is Purple Rain. I love Prince. Prince is on my Mount Rushmore of artists. But it was weird because like sometimes I go a few months without listening to Prince, but then I like pop him back in the player or put him on Spotify or whatnot, and then I go back and it's beyond Purple Rain. I mean, when he was doing Diamonds and Pearls and Seven and all that Surrounded Around and all that stuff. That was great too. When he did Little Red Corvette was good. When he did the disco songs, those were good. But man, cover to cover, Purple Rain's a brilliant album. And it got me thinking, Joe. I said to a friend of mine who's a big Michael Jackson fan
Mm-hmm.
that Purple Rain is better than anything Michael Jackson ever did.
Yeah.
So, Joe, what do you have as the greatest album of your lifetime?
Actually, Siamese Dream from the Smashing Pumpkins.
Very
If
nice.
you
I don't
look at
mind it.
it, it's one of those albums that was kind of groundbreaking at the time for their unique sound, and lyrically too. It was really different from a lot of things that were out there. So
Mhm.
that and Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness was one of the first double rock albums at the time, making waves. And they had a lot of bangers on that double disc album that was released. So it was great, man. I love the Smashing Pumpkins. They're one of my favorite bands, or the favorite band that I have. So it's hard pressed to argue with other people and say that Siamese Dream didn't have an impact on the music scene.
Well, I saw an interview with Billy Corgan talking about how there were a lot of radio stations that initially refused to play Smashing Pumpkins because his voice is so unique.
Mhm.
And it's not a good voice, but it's not a bad voice. It's just very, very, very unique. Sam Salinas on our YouTube stream saying Notorious B.I.G. Ready to Die, especially once you get past by the radio songs and get into the B-sides. Ready to Die was actually listed. I'm looking at Rolling Stones 500 greatest albums of all time. This was an article from December of 2023, so it's only a couple of years old, or a year and a half old. But who they had that actually had Notorious B.I.G.'s in the top 50, if I'm not mistaken. Here's their top 20, Joe. According to Rolling Stone. Number 20, Radiohead's Kid A, which came out in 2000.
Okay.
At number 19, they had Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly from 2015. At number 18, they had Bob Dylan's Highway 61 Revisited from 1965. At 17, they had Kanye West, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy from 2010. At 16, The Clash, London Calling from 1979. Number 15, Public Enemy, Flava Flav, who was in the house at the Foss
Yeah,
Bank
boy.
Center. Yeah, boy. It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back from 1988. 14, Rolling Stones, Exile on Main Street. That was back in 72. 13, Aretha Franklin's I Never Loved a Man the Way I Love You from 1967. I heard that album again about 2 weeks ago. Chica and I were driving to the Babyface concert in Lake Charles. She popped this album in. 12, Michael Jackson's Thriller. So Michael Jackson had 3 of the top 50, by the way, but number 12 was his highest one. 11, the Beatles' Revolver. Number 10, this is where it gets interesting, Joe, because I would have put this as my number 2 album of my lifetime.
God, Babyface or something like that. R&B.
The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill,
Okay, that one's a good one.
which won all those Grammys back in 1998. Number 9, Bob Dylan, Blood on the Tracks. Number 8, Prince, Purple Rain. Again, remember I said it's better than anything Michael Jackson ever did? Rolling Stone magazine says it too. 7, Fleetwood Mac's Rumors. Number 6, Nevermind by Nirvana.
Okay.
Number 5, Abbey Road by the Beatles. Number 4, Stevie Wonder's Songs in the Key of Life. Number 3, Joni Mitchell's Blue, which I heard the other day. I heard a couple of songs from it the other day. Number 2, Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys, back from 1966. And number 1, you know what? I have a hard time arguing with this one. By the way, 1971 R&B artist, Joe. Who you got?
Oh man, I can't even think of one, dude. From 1971.
Yeah,
Damn, I don't know.
Marvin Gaye's What's Going On.
No, okay, all right. You can't argue with that.
You know, I mean, that whole album was amazing. Taking a look at the soundtrack from that. I mean the whole album itself. It had Mercy Mercy Me, Inner City Blues. I mean, dude, love it.
Look at Mario Cavazos. Joel sing. He's quoting.
I used to be a little boy
Oh man, you won't get me singing that crap, dude.
when I choose. It's my choice. What's a boy supposed to do?
God, can't even imagine, dude, trying to sing that all drunk. I'm gonna pull a mic and go up there and be like, sing one or two verses. I'm done.
I'm done. That was a long night, Joe. It was a cold night.
Yeah, we're trying to hype you up. Chica's out there on the front of the stage, clapping for you and everything. Come on, Mike. Come on, Mike.
But ever since
STP,
then, I've
done.
come out. Because sometimes you go karaoke, you don't know what you want to sing, right? So I created a list of songs that now I hear it on the radio. I think to myself, the next time I go karaoke, I'm gonna sing one of these songs.
Man, I remember that. That was funny. Joe, go tell the guy, man. STP, go pick a song for me. All right, man, I got the song and everything.
But
Mike
then 30
gets up.
minutes later, I got sloshed, dude.
Oh, you're like, "Brr, brr, I'm done."
Mario asking the question, "What's the best Tejano band or album of all time?" Jimenez. I don't know. It's just too ethnic for me.
Jeez.
Too ethnic, Joe.
Grupo Más.
I don't know many of them, Joe.
Oh,
I
Mike.
know Celino. I know Emilio. I know Bobby Pulido back in the day. Shelly Lares.
Grupo F. Algo. Mike, come on, Mike. Come on. You never listened to cumbias, dude, in the backyard.
In the backyard?
Yeah,
No.
with the family,
Never did.
dude, barbecuing. Come on, Mike.
No, dude. My dad would play oldies, dude. I mean, he would play like Tejano when it was by himself in the garage. But if we had family over, we weren't listening to cumbias and Tejano and all that stuff. We would listen to oldies. We'd listen to Elvis. We would listen to
What's
Buddy
the name of
Holly,
that old
the
Tejano
Platters.
station they used to have here in town? La Ley. Remember that one? La
Yeah.
Ley, the law from back in the day.
Oh crap! Did we see? Did we? Mario asking, did we miss Jimenez singing Cracker Man? Rubber band, good in hand, good in hand. I want to use rum and rum and rum. Get away, gotta get away.
Hey man,
And I think too much.
there was people out there that karaoke, man. They didn't have the pipes, but God bless them, dude, because they had the cojones, man, to get up there on the stage and sing nonetheless. So I was like, all right, do your thing, you know. But some
Oh
of
my
them were just murdering those songs, bro.
Oh my God, Mario is killing me on the chat with Radio Jalapeno. Ahora en stereo. God, I remember that 1540 KDA.
You're gonna sing the Sap Sap Sapo song. You remember that from back
Yeah, I do remember that song. Yeah, Chica was trying to get me to dance salsa the other day. I think it was like 2 days ago. She was like, "You want to dance with me in the middle of the house?" It was like a scene from a movie. I was looking for the cameras. Like, oh my God, it's just two people dancing in the kitchen. You know?
Yeah.
It's like a Julia Roberts scene from back in the day.
That's nice, dude. Enjoy it.
That's right. Hey, guys, flash my number on the screen there 210-508-0369. That's 210-508-0369. That's my number if you have questions about financial accounts, investments, IRAs, 401ks. If you need a rollover an account, you have through a savings plan, want to know what to do with it, life insurance, disability, long-term care, hell, auto and home. Need help? 210-508-0369. Again, 210-508-0369. Next month, Joe, will be my 20-year anniversary in financial services. 20 years, Joe. So, Joe, I'm looking at the Spurs salary cap situation for the next couple of years, right? Let's go to basketballreference.com. The Spurs have a ton of players on the roster next year. We got De'Aaron Fox making $37 million. Devin Vassell making $27. At least he's going down in price. We've got Keldon going down in price at 17.5. We have Harrison Barnes at 19, Wemby at 13 million, Castle at 9, Sohan at 7, Branham at 5, Champagny at 3, Blake Wesley at 5, Bassey with a 2.5 million non-guaranteed, and the lowest paid Spur Joe this year was Mamu at just under 2.1 million. He's going to be a free agent, Joe. Last night was his resume tape.
Yeah.
Last night he can go to any of the teams, any of the 30 teams in the NBA and go, here's what I can do. I kind of feel like he priced himself out of the Spurs last night. At the end of the day, he's going to say, hi, my name is Mamu. I'm 26 years old next season. I've been in the league for 5 years. I'm 6'11". You can't find a lot of 6'11" people out there. I shoot 69.9% from 2. I shoot 42.5% from 3. I have an effective field goal shooting percentage of 66.6. Anybody want to sign me? And do you know what all 30 teams are going to do, Joe?
Yeah, man. The plus side, Mike, you're gonna be able to get that Mamu jersey for half price at the Spurs shop. Spurs legend Mamu. You think they're gonna raise the number Mamu's number to the rafters?
7 for 7 from 3, Joe. What is Mamu gonna command in the offseason? What if a team goes out and says, Mamu, we'll give you a 2-year, $20 million deal? Do the Spurs bite at that? Because the Spurs have people to pay. The Spurs have to sign an extension to De'Aaron Fox. The Spurs eventually are going to pay the supermax to Victor Wembanyama, but eventually going to have to pay a high price for Castle. And then not only that, at the end of next year, guess who's a free agent? Sohan.
He can walk.
Last night, watching that game, I thought to myself, my God, if Sohan had 50% of the game that Mamu has offensively, he'd be a stud.
It's not going
Mamu going out there, just high basketball IQ, just old man basketball, pump fake, pass, side, wrap around, bounce pass.
Man, and knocking down open 3-pointers.
We see Sohan, who physically is more talented athletically, being passed the ball into the basket and jumping for no reason. It was just like, what the F are you doing, man?
Yeah, man, that's what happens when you're on the sauce, bro. At the club, you know.
JHNSP saying Mamu going to be a Thunder player next year. Going to look good as a Thunder starter.
We'll have time to fix that. No, man. Mamu's name next year is going to be gone, dude. You watch.
Yeah.
He already gave the Spurs a gentleman's deal here, you know. They had a gentleman's agreement in place. They let him go. Well, we're going to sign you back again for a lesser price tag. And they got that done because Mamu wanted to stay here with San Antonio. I think Mamu knows his worth now. He's like, you know what? It's been all right here, but peace out. I'm going to go get my money.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking at all the free agents for this upcoming year, Joe. For this upcoming year, you got Mamu. Here's some names that are free agents for this upcoming year. And again, when they never hit the free agent market. They never do. LeBron has a player option. $51 million. Team option by the Houston Rockets, and I doubt they'll do it, Joe. Why would they? Fred VanVleet, do you think he's worth $43 million?
No.
Team can drop him. Other free agents, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Chris Middleton, Julius Randle, John Collins. But those are all player options. They can all just re-up with their team and get paid what they're going to get paid. The unrestricted free agents, Joe. Brooke Lopez, Clint Capella, Malcolm Brogdon, Bruce Brown, Miles Turner, Tim Hardaway Jr., D'Angelo Russell, Luke Kennard, Karis LeVert, Dennis Schroeder, Steven Adams, Marvin Bagley. It's a bunch of shit names, Joe. Chris Paul. Those are the free agents this year.
He's going to retire, bro. Chris Paul's done, man. This is his last season.
I owe $1 for using the S word, Joe. Okay,
Hey,
Joe. Joe, who would the Spurs rather have for one more year? Chris Paul, Whose birthday do they have? Chris Paul or Mamu?
Give me Mamu.
How about this, Joe? Mamu at 3 years, 25 million, or Sohan at 3 years, 60 million.
Nah, let Sohan walk, dude. Bye. Bye, Felicia.
Mario letting us know that Colorado State has a player that he saw play at Warren High School in the tournament. 6'8", name is Jalen Crooker Johnson. If we went to Warren, I probably referee his games, man. I probably ref those games.
And they're saying that they're having issues right now. The Max is having issues with Sam Salinas was saying here. Same thing with Mario Cavazos. And it's because the Max had rolled out some new features here. They have like multi-view and things like that for the tourney, because you can watch that on the Max under the Bleacher Report sports that they have over there on the left-hand side of the screen. You just go down there and select BR Sports and you can watch the tourney there along with NBA games and stuff. But it looks like they're having some problems, man, much like Netflix had with that Jake Paul or whatever fiasco with Mike Tyson. So, yeah, it happens, man, when you have many people trying to stream and watch the game at the same time. I mean, these things are going to happen. It's amazing to me that they know this is going to happen and they don't do anything to shore up the infrastructure. Like you would need more servers. You're going to need a lot more. Even if you think I'm going to go ahead and get another building, to go ahead and I guess be able to handle the influx of people watching. It's still not going to be enough. You need to get a lot more of that infrastructure in place. And it's just amazing to me how they can always drop the bag, man. Netflix, Max, anybody else, man, when there's a high level sport, people are going to be watching. And why do people watch sports so much, Mike? Because they're always betting on it, right? There's always a lot of money involved. So they know people are going to be watching this. Do better, man.
Hey, I'm reading right now that it's a free cone day at Dairy Queen.
God,
March 20th. You can go to Dairy Queen and get a free ice cream cone. Just walk in, walk out, get your cone.
and look at
Joe,
this.
what's your favorite Blizzard of choice?
I like the Heath one, man. That one's a good one. I was gonna say
what is Heath, by the way? I don't think I've ever had it.
candy bar. It's a candy. It's toffee.
It's toffee? Okay.
English toffee. It's good, man. I like it.
I'm gonna give you two, Joe.
Yeah.
The Hawaiian, which is not a thing anymore over there, but they'll still make it for you, which is pineapple and coconut with like pecans. That's the best one for me. Number two, I'm gonna give you my dad's favorite, Butterfinger.
No.
Dude, Joe, is Butterfinger old school candy?
It's that and Baby Ruth.
Okay.
That's being honest, bro.
That's what I was gonna say. Dude, Baby Ruth is good, dude.
Baby Ruth is the OG candy bar, man.
Okay, so let's talk about this. They say that you could tell the age of somebody based on their email address. If you have a Yahoo, a Google, a Gmail, Ymail, all that stuff, right? Is candy that thing as well? Like you're old if you like this. What do young people eat when it comes to candy?
That sour straw, those sour straws, that sour candy, dude. That shit's nasty.
They eat like Airheads and like stuff like that. But it's funny because Chica and I, when we go to the movies and whatnot, movies are expensive. You take food in. They're not going to check our purse, right?
He's taking tacos.
So we go to Dollar General, right before, right outside the movies. We start just throwing stuff in there, right? And I was like, man, I only crave a Baby Ruth when I'm going to the movies.
Baby Ruth. What about Reese's Pieces, man? That's also good too.
Okay, first of all, the little Reese's Pieces, the little circular ones, suck.
No, bro.
But the peanut butter cups, elite.
No, the Reese's Pieces are good, especially when you put them in the popcorn, bro. That's elite. Elite.
Are you you know how to get buttered popcorn done correctly, right?
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll pour a little bit of the popcorn and then I put the butter in there. You have to have it in layers, bro. You can't just do it all at once.
I saw this hack a long time ago. You put it on top, right? Then you go and you get a straw. You stick the straw in and you butter the straw and the straw gets it all the way to the bottom and then you just shake.
No, I just do it in layers as I'm filling it up now, That way I can
Baby Ruth.
my layers, my all the layers have the butter. But look, this is funny to me. This is somebody who probably doesn't watch the show very much, and I thought it was funny, comical, in a way. Because look what he puts. Eric Barcenas. He goes, "What happened to y'all's favorite player, Vassell? What excuses do y'all podcasters have today? None, because we don't care about Devin Vassell. We've already said that he's been one of the most inconsistent players on the Spurs. Try harder."
But welcome to the show, dude. Welcome to the
Yeah.
show. No, Vassell is kind of like he's kind of like the family member that you want to beat up on, but if someone talks crap about him, you don't want to, you're not going to put up with it. That's the thing about it. Let me look at Vassell's stats from yesterday. Let's see here. The Bulls are taking on the Kings tonight, so we're cheering on the Kings tonight because that Bulls pick right there. Spurs with the win last night went from number 8 to 10.
Look what says it says. He says, "So you lube up the straw."
Basically, the popcorn begins to throb at that point.
Oh God, man, you got to make it weird, Mike.
Devin Vassell last night, 3 of 9 shooting. Well, I will say this about Devin Vassell with 10 points. At least he didn't chunk up the ball 30 times, right? Isn't it weird that you see Mamu go off for 34 points, which is more than 3 starters combined for the Spurs? He scored more than Chris Paul, Harrison Barnes, and Jeremy Sohan combined. That's crazy. Mamu scored more points than any 2 Spurs combined last night. Castle had 22 last night. It's wrapped up, Joe. The Rookie of the Year is his.
I don't know. You said a couple weeks ago it wasn't.
Well, that was before De'Aaron Fox went out with an injury, and that forced the Spurs to play Castle major minutes. And now his points per game is at 14. Right now, I'm looking at the odds right now. According to Fox Sports right now, the odds right now are minus 800 for Stephon Castle. Zachary Richardson has moved into the second spot over Jalen Wells at plus 1,800. That's a nice way of saying that Castle's about a 90% odds. It's his. The only way that he doesn't get it, what, gets hurt?
No,
And
or
Richardson balls out the next 10 games?
Mitch shuts him down for the rest of the season and says, "Don't worry about it, man. We're just gonna go ahead and sit you. You good." That's stupid. It wouldn't surprise me though if they did something like that. That's not out of the realm of possibility.
What's this I'm reading right now about a rally outside the district attorney's office for the Menendez brothers right now? It says Eric and Lyle Menendez family members are holding another rally to support their incarcerated brothers. And it's aimed at calling out DA Nathan Hochman. Have you been following this? The Menendez brothers killed their parents back in the early 90s.
I did, and I was reading more. You see more and more of what happened come to light. Do they deserve to be on parole? Do they deserve to be freed? That's up to a judge to decide, man. But you hear a lot of things coming out now that this parents were really bad to them, molested them, all these things that happened to them when they were younger, and that's why they did what they did. Doesn't mean that it's justified in killing another person, especially your parents. So I don't know, man. What do you think? Do you think
maybe it does justify it?
What do you think? I mean, do you think at the end of the day they deserve to be free? Or
maybe it does deserve it. I mean, I don't. If it's true that they were molested repeatedly by their parents and they killed their parents because of it, I'm all right with it.
jeez.
I'm all right with it. This was the 40-year anniversary, by the way. There's 2 40-year anniversaries going on. Do you want the lighthearted one or the not so lighthearted one?
Let's get the lighthearted one.
40-year anniversary of the TV show The Office. I'm sorry, not 40, 20-year anniversary of The Office debuting in the United States. Happened back in 2005.
That didn't even originate here. The Office is kind of like a UK thing.
Yeah, so I was reading up on that. So basically, The Office was the brainchild of a guy that worked at a radio station in England.
Yeah.
And he had a coworker who was a boss of his Ricky Gervais, who would go around the office in character. That he would do this whole character about how he's a bad boss and all that stuff, and it was a character that he would do inside the office just for giggles, right?
Yeah.
And apparently, this guy went off and did like a film study, and they were looking for to pitch ideas for the show. They did a pilot episode on their own, which impressed the people at the BBC enough to pick it up. And they said Ricky Gervais could be the actor in there, even though Ricky Gervais was not an actor. He goes on to become like a super big celebrity over the years. That was back in 2001, 2002. But The Office in the United States dropped in 2005. Sam's saying that yesterday was the 35th anniversary of Depeche Mode's Violator album. Violator, Enjoy the Silence.
Yeah.
It's
Good album.
It's a good album. I mean that's a beat that I remember going out to clubs back in the day.
Polyester.
Not polyesters. F that place. I would go to like Park Place. Go reach out and touch faith. Dun, dun,
Was it
dun.
the Atrium? Remember the Atrium from back in the day?
Atrium was good, man. The Egyptian room.
They had wasn't that such a cool little spot to hang out in? You like had all these little nooks and crannies. These other
But if you got in, then you were like this the entire time.
they were so tiny, dude.
Did we have fun doing that, Joe? I mean,
It was
it's part of our youth and childhood, but I never really like thought about it. Thought to myself, oh yeah, I had a blast.
It was all right. And what was the other one that had the freaking plane in it? It was over there by the Park North location. Was it called
Park Place?
Park Place. Yeah, they had the plane on the wall and all that stuff. Was it Graham Central Station, Sunset Station?
Graham's. One of my favorites back in the day.
It had to be the volcano. The which one?
Madison Avenue.
Oh, Madison Avenue. I thought you were going to say Joe's Volcano.
Joe's Volcano was not that bad, dude, because that was my home territory, man. That was Holmes High School. If I had to walk home, I'd walk home.
What was the other one that was called there? Whiskey. What was it called? Whiskey Tree, or what was it called? The one that's right there off of Evers. What's the name of that place?
Hey,
Thirsty Horse.
So no, Evers was Whiskeys and Rookies.
Whiskeys. Yeah.
Sorry, one of the dogs was scratching the walls over here.
God. And the Hot Tin Roof. You remember that one?
Dude. I've been carried out of the Hot Tin Roof, man. I had a what's it called? A throwback. What do you call them? A tall tale about that place.
Jeez.
A couple weeks ago.
Oh man. What was the other one? Club Antro, Planeta Mexico, Noche Caliente. I know you never went to Noche Caliente.
Why would I?
It's too ethnic for you.
No, but I did go to what was the other one that was in the medical center or close to the medical center? It was Planeta.
Planeta Mexico.
That was a good place, dude. I remember a fight broke out. I also my friend Mike and Joey, and a fight broke out, and it was like a movie scene. The guy got the glass bottle and just went like that to the counter and went like this to somebody else right in front of me. And I'm just there, like, not even backing off. I'm just like, they're like, what the hell's happening here? And everyone's scattering, but for some reason, I just stood there like a freaking moron. they're like doing this to each other. Good times.
Look at that club. I said Mike had a VIP table at Club Miami.
No, man. North Pole, man. That's where it was at.
Remember that one place that was pretty cool back in the day? They used to have it. It's out there by going towards like Bernie. It used to be called Changos. Remember that one?
Oh, Changos, dude.
It was, I think Saturdays was like 80s night. The place was hopping, dude.
Changos was that was the first place that I ever went to a club before where I understood the concept of cougars. Didn't partake in it, but it was the first time I'd ever gone out to a place where I realized that you were being preyed upon.
God.
That was funny, dude.
Chongos back in the day, man. What was that other place? The one that we went to?
Sneakers.
Yeah, Sneakers. What was the one place that we went to for your birthday? What was it called? Oh, in the middle of nowhere, way out there. What was the place that we went to for your birthday?
Oh my God.
We had to pay a cover and everything to get in.
Was it picks?
I think
No.
I don't know what it was.
God, what do we do this year?
That's where we went for your birthday. You had gotten that place.
Oh yeah, picks.
No.
Mario asking if I've taken some salsa lessons to R. John's. God, R. John's.
Man, you know what I miss? I miss cruising down Military, man, when I was younger. That was back in the day, dude. Cruising on a Sunday afternoon, in the evening, listening to all the oldies, all the people coming on. And yeah, I'd like to make a request or dedication. You remember that? The
Yeah.
dedications? Funny, dude. They need to bring that back, man. That was hilarious. Girls dedicating songs to their guy who's coming out of the pen, We're still holding it down for you here, Johnny. Waiting for you to get out.
I'm so with you, so ahead. But with that, we want to say thank you again to Mamu for having the game of the year for the Spurs. Spurs beat the Knicks last night. Mamu 34 points, 13 of 14 shooting, 7 of 7 from 3. He's now priced himself out of the Spurs free agency hopes, in my opinion. I hope to get him back, dude. I hope to get him back. Again, 66.6% effective field goal shooting. I went back 25 years, never saw it. Now, people will look at it and go, Bismack Biyombo has an effective shooting percentage of 67%. That's higher. I'm talking about shooters. I went back 25 years. His EFG is better than Doug McDermott, better than Brent Barry, better than Matt Bonner, Davis Bertans, better than all of our shooters over the last 25 years. Crazy.
Yeah. Hey, as we bring the show to an end, I have some news to report here too, man. I might be moving in to a new apartment here pretty soon. So,
oh, really?
I'll let you guys know what's going to happen here shortly. So we might actually be doing the show remotely, permanently, if that happens.
Remotely, permanently.
Permanently.
Very nice. Chica sent me some houses that she wants me to look at in the San Antonio area.
Nice.
So I was looking at it right now, Joe, like where I am physically right now in Conroe, because Conroe is not Houston, it's not San Antonio, it's not Dallas, it's not Austin.
Yeah.
Okay, if I want to go to downtown Houston, because of traffic, hour and a half. Right? Hour 15, hour and a half.
Yeah.
Downtown Dallas, 3 hours. Downtown Austin, 3 hours. Downtown San Antonio, 3 hours. It's a weird location, Joe.
Yeah.
It's kind of like in the middle of all of it.
But I'm going to tell you, like Jeff Garcia, what's your name from San Antonio? Gone.
Ish.
Gone.
Gone-ish. I'm still here, Waffle. I'm still here. Sam Salina saying Houston adjacent.
Houston adjacent. I'm not in Houston, but I'm adjacent to Houston.
You know, it's funny because my daughter came over here, and was like, "Dad, I thought it was Houston," but we went from Conroe to downtown Houston for to go to a museum, and she goes, "Dad, I thought you like moved to Houston. It's not Houston." You're like, she says, that's like saying moving to San Marcos or moving to Buda is like moving to Houston or San Antonio rather. It's like, you're far. And I'm like, I know I'm far. So this is what it is. I'll hang out with Drew from the Woodlands.
I'm sure he'd pull up and have a drink or two with you.
Let's make it happen. Fellas, I got to go. Got to get back to the office. But we'll be back tomorrow talking sports, pop culture, nostalgia. We'll talk about the day one of March Madness. See if there's any upsets. See if any Cinderellas are in the making. Be back tomorrow.
See you guys.